cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. What's up, fellas? Welcome to another True Tuesday. Today's show, man, it's gonna be a difficult one for me to even just talk about because of the graphic nature, I guess, in the action that occurred. It's, in my opinion, one of the worst forms of child abuse that I've heard of, and I don't know, man, just visualizing and trying to picture, you know, what occurred. Just like I said, it's hard for me to even talk about it, and hopefully, well, I'm sure it's going to be a good topic to congregate over. But like I say, it's definitely brutal in nature. And it's definitely hard to believe. But back in June 17th of this year, deputies were called to a Lake County, Florida residence where a young lady, 9-year-old Jamaria Sessions was found unresponsive at her Mount Verde residence. She was living with her biological father. And according to deputies, the girl was found with numerous abrasions, bruises, burns, and possible bite marks. Now, the person accused of this abuse is actually the biological father's girlfriend. Now, it doesn't give the motive as to why she did what she did, but the story says that she basically allowed her 103-pound Rottweiler to basically maul this young lady. But prior to the mauling, it said that the young girl went through abuse, several nights before, that ranged from, hair being pulled. And let me back up. I'm sorry. I did mention the person being accused. Her name was Tyshell Elise Martin, 34-year-old, which was the biological father's girlfriend. Okay, so again, the abuse that the 9-year-old went through was prolonged wall sits, running in place with her arms up, being struck with objects, and other forms of abuse. But to me and for me, what got to me was allowing this dog to maul this young lady and sit there and watch it. Now, Keep in mind, she's holding the leash while the dog is doing the mauling and not trying to, you basically looking and witnessing it. So, like I say, to visualize this, it's painful to even talk about, but to try to visualize it, just, it gets to me.
Freddie G, wouldn't that be a form of premeditation if she's holding the dog with the leash and watching it? Ain't that, like, I'm watching it. That's
premeditation what, though? What are you asking?
She's been charged with first-degree murder.
So, like, if you hold, now I can see if you just let it go and be like, oh, I couldn't get him off. But if you got the dog on the leash in your hand and you allowing it to happen, wouldn't that be considered premeditated? Because you're like, I'm allowing this to happen.
I don't know if you would consider it premeditation, but I will say this, like, that is abuse, number one, but the abuse escalated. So sometimes, look at it this way. As a child, have you ever gotten a whooping and then it seemed like during the process of the first strike and the second strike, if you running up under the bed or you running up, it gets worse. It escalates. And now, instead of whooping you on your butt, you done messed around and got hit with the belt buckle upside your head.
Yeah.
So I think that because of this woman hatred, because that's what it is. That's pure hatred. And there's no love because, and I'm not saying that stepmoms can't love, but there's no love. It doesn't seem like there's any love there
at all.
So that hatred and evilness toward that child, hey, it ain't mine. So you know, nah, man. I think that it was already an abusive situation, and the abuse just escalated.
Yeah.
And maybe, it can't be the first time.
And maybe she didn't expect that this girl would die from this, you know.
Well,
I don't think death was expected from whatever this
you
was.
know what? I can agree with that. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you just want to go and kill, you'll kill quick and easy.
Yeah.
You can strangle. You can poison. You can let me just go ahead and kill. Yeah. Versus, okay, let me torture you, because this is torture.
It's definitely torture.
This is torture.
Exactly.
I got you.
And now this torture resulted in death.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you mentioned hatred, Freddie G, and when I was discussing this story with a good friend of mine, I was just trying to wonder what would possess a person, to stoop to these type of levels, because the last couple of shows that we've talked about on Tuesday, it's been some type of neglect where parenting is concerned. The story we talked about, whether the young man fed his infant gasoline. It was another one where a father had put his 14-year-old out because of her fast behavior in regards to having, her second child. And this one, of course, being the worst of all. But, I would think one has to be sick, man. Sick in the head. I just can't. Who would want to hurt a child? You know what I'm saying? Even prisoners have that rule of thumb where kids are not fucked with.
It's offline. It's off limits.
Mentally, you are definitely off.
Well, let me say this. You're right in regards to prisoners having that I guess, for lack of better words, code of conduct. But you got to think, there are some prisoners in there for that.
True that.
And this lady is going to be
in there. She will be one
of them for that. And so she ain't the only one in there. It's really, truthfully, man, I wouldn't be surprised if she experienced that same, maybe a level of abuse as a child.
It's possible.
And then I would want to know if she had children of her own.
Yeah, it doesn't state that.
It doesn't state that.
Because if she had children of her own, this is definitely a case to where you can open up the door to find. When I say open up the door, meaning that, okay, she's killed this child, which is her stepdaughter.
But how does she treat her own?
How does she treat her own kids? So let's CPS get involved to try to find out. So I would want to know if she have kids.
What was the dad in all this?
During the time that this was going on, they didn't say that where the father was, but I'm assuming, again, that they lived together, and he possibly could have been at work. Assumptions can be made where he was, but there's no negative talk where the father is concerned, so it's not like he did anything wrong.
Right.
But if it was this an ongoing thing, he got to have.
He may not know.
Here's the thing with that, man.
Yeah.
If you with somebody you love, you trust.
You can be blinded.
You trust them. I mean, that's just how many relationships do we know that, hey, this mother and father got together, they lived together, or they got married, and she has kids, and now she's moved the father into the home, or they chose to move together, and okay, she got to go to work, and now dad is there with the kids. She trusts dad, and vice versa.
But think of it this way: your daughter, if you had your daughter, right? If your daughter, any one of us, came up to you one time and said, "Mama been abusing me," and you know how we feel about our daughters, we may not, no matter how much we love them, we gonna have that second eye.
I don't think they would use the word abuse for one, but
if
they say "Mama beat my ass,"
Mama whooping me a little too hard.
You know what?
Yeah.
Here's something that we take for granted.
Yeah.
When it comes to children. Children can be paralyzed with fear and not say nothing.
Right.
Even you can tell your child till you blue in the face, hey, if somebody touch you, you come tell me. If somebody do this, you come tell me. But they could be paralyzed with fear by the manipulator who's abusing them.
Yeah, you ain't lying. You say
to
something,
where they
mama.
won't say, because sometimes they say, hey, whoever be, hey, if you go tell your daddy, then he gonna be mad, and then he gonna be mad at you.
Then you ain't gonna have no place to stay.
And you don't want your daddy mad at you because your love for your father or your love for your mother or whomever that parent is greater than this ass whooping or this torture that I'm receiving. So kids can be manipulated and paralyzed with fear.
Yeah, I mean, they're naive, so it wouldn't be difficult to do what you just mentioned, Freddie G. Now, to Tashel's defense, if I can even defend her actions, I have 2 big dogs, around 78 pounds. And keep in mind, this dog was 103 pounds. So if in the event, once the dog started the mauling, trying to stop that dog would be very difficult. Yeah,
that's right.
Because I've tried to stop my dog from fighting on 2 different occasions, and bruh, I tell you, I felt like I was the one fighting that motherfucker. I was out of energy. Yeah. And I'm a big dude, so I can imagine this young lady trying to stop this dog after you done already got him active. Right. It probably,
there was no way she could stop it.
I don't think so.
That's why I think Comedian 96, when you said, was that premeditated?
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it was
as I'm rethinking it, she had her on the leash, thinking that she'd be able to pull her back. So now I can see it.
Well, she probably didn't see the dog grab at the girl.
Yeah.
And by the time she turned around, it could have been too late.
So she could have underestimated the dog's strength, thinking that she would have been able to pull the dog off. But again, my dog is 78 pounds, bro, and I put my dog in a bear hug.
Yeah. To hold him.
To try to pull his ass off this other dog. And just the strength that these dogs have is remarkable.
Now, check this out, though. See, we're focused in on the dog, right? Mm-hmm. But let's not forget, she had burn bruises.
Right. It was abuse.
And she had other things.
It was evident abuse.
There's other things that was going on with this child.
Right.
Other signs of abuse other than the dog mauling.
So wait. Let me just catch up, because I think I may be a little bit behind. The dog. Whose dog?
This was her dog.
So the child.
This is
the family dog.
Tashel's dog.
Mm-hmm. The stepmom's
dog.
Yeah, to my understanding, it was her dog.
So I'm wondering, did they move the dog in too? Was that this type of situation?
It didn't say how long the dog had been living in the household. It just says that, this was basically one of the causes of death, the dog mauling this young lady.
And the reason why I say that is because I'm wondering if the child was familiar with the dog.
Yeah, that's another
felt safe
question.
And comfortable around the dog.
And Cameron, I just heard you say one of the causes of death.
Well, like we were mentioning, there was evidence of other abuse that was going on. So I'm just saying, it contributed to the dog is what
the final factor.
Pretty much, yeah. So, but like you said, Freddie G or / one of you two said that maybe she didn't think that it would get to that extent to where the child lost her life. But she was definitely trying to cause harm.
So that's what I'm talking about. The daddy didn't see the burn marks. Like, if it's abuse, evidence of abuse, it had to be ongoing.
Well, I will say this, because it did say sheriff's office did respond earlier in March. Now, the young lady was found in June. Mm-hmm. In March, there was a call that was responded to, and the sheriff that responded never filed a report, which he's actually under internal affairs investigation right now.
He sure should.
So with that report being filed, I would think that the father had to know something was going on. Mm-hmm. So between March and June, I would have done something different, unless he was, and I hate to say he was just trifling and was stuck behind the power of a pussy. Right. But something definitely was wrong in this situation where this child was neglected. It's a sad situation, which I'm always saying. Mm-hmm. And again, just trying to visualize this mauling.
It's had to have been a horrible sight, man. Because I can hear the dog growling.
Yeah.
But at the time, and just visually thinking about this, the dog mauling, I'm guessing this is a child. How old? 9 years old. You can see skin being
probably
ripped.
The same size as the dog, or less.
She was smaller than the dog. The child was smaller than the dog.
That's what I'm saying. Or less.
So of course you getting skin and flesh ripped off the child, because the dogs, when the dogs bite you, they just
keep shaking their head. Yeah.
So this is really sad, man. I mean.
Well, even the detectives or the police that responded was saying how difficult it was for them to do investigating and you know, just to gather the facts. Because even one detective said, you know, this is the worst he's ever seen in his career,
right?
Which I can imagine. Now, the good thing about this is there is home video of the actual abuse that has occurred, you know, and the mauling, which I haven't seen, but you know, the police do have this as evidence. So this young lady definitely will be found guilty. I don't see her getting off of this.
Yeah,
period.
I don't see her getting out with this one either, man. I think she deserves something because her mental state, it's got to be something with her mental state to want to do this to a child, to abuse a child. You know, it's really sad, and I've seen these situations and cases before. You know, you read about this stuff, and it just kind of hurts. It's a hurtful feeling to know that you have adults out here who's strong enough to take care of themselves and other people, but weak enough to take the life of a child.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, that kills me because where is the median? There has to be some sort of structure and some type of foundation mentally for people like that. They should have, well, I know they got psychology. They
need
like
something.
But it needs to be talked about first, because a lot of times we don't talk about these types of situations. We talk about mental health. I think K Money did shows on mental health. And to me, this case kind of fits in that bracket because this is a mental case.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with what Freddie G said earlier. Maybe she suffered from something at an early age that you know has triggered her and has caused her to react in this manner. I definitely know, you know, even had this child survived this attack, it would have some type of negative impact on her later on in life. You know, I was wondering about the infant that had the gasoline fed.
Right.
She was so young, she won't remember it, but the gasoline, but the skin and the her skin being so delicate and fragile, I'm sure it.
She probably have digestive problems.
Well, if it was swallowed, but I'm just saying, just the gasoline touching her lips, you know, would cause some type of damage, which I'm sure later on in life she would inquire about. And not sure what would be told, but you know, it may have her feeling some type of way to give her low self-esteem because it caused some type of mark. Just a negative domino effect is what I'm saying that would be caused from this violent act.
You know, there's a saying, man. Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah,
and we've heard that over and over and over and over, man. Hurt people hurt people.
I agree.
And some of these people, man, that's committing these acts against children, they're probably hurt adults that used to be a hurt child.
Right. Most of the time.
So you're saying they feel a sense of power being able to do something to someone that's less not dominant, but that can't defend themselves. They're taking advantage of that opportunity.
I wouldn't say power, but sometimes, man, it seems crazy, right? But sometimes that you do what you know. Let me explain something to you.
Go ahead.
I'm about to say something that may sound very, very controversial, and not to steer the topic in another direction, but you guys will get where I'm coming from, right? So there are people out here who don't believe in whooping their children.
Right.
And here's the reason why some of these people don't believe in whooping their children. They don't believe in whooping their children because that is a reminder of the slave master whooping us as slaves to keep us in line. So an actual whooping in their mind is actually abuse on what the slave master ushered into us.
Right.
So more or less they're thinking they're repeating history.
Yeah.
You know,
and so let me not whoop my child because that's what the slave master did to our ancestors for nothing.
But now let me say this.
So there's some people who believe that.
There's also a scripture in the Bible that says,
just about to go there.
spare the rod, spoil the child.
Now, again, I want to speak to that. So, and again, not to take the show in a different direction, But there's also people out there that believe that the same person that gave us the Bible is the same person that gave us nigga.
True that.
So they use the Bible. Some people believe that the Bible was used against us to manipulate us.
Right.
So the same person that brought you Christianity is the same person that called you nigga.
Yeah. And taught you about devilish acts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I mean, you can. That's a ongoing debate,
right?
You know, back and forth, and again,
definitely could be debated.
Not to take the show in a different direction,
right?
But just speaking on to K Money in regards to the parent, maybe this is her not taking up for the parent, no kind of way, shape, or form.
It's hard to,
but maybe this is all she know as a parent.
Right.
I got whooped this way. I got beat this way, and I turned out just fine.
Yeah, you know what?
I got whooped with racing car tracks. I got whooped with this and all this, and I turned out just fine.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe somebody sicked the dog on her. And I turned out just fine, thinking that she turned out fine.
Yeah, I was about to say
exactly. Thinking,
you know, but that's a mental thing that you're carrying with you, and now you just putting it on another child, and this child ain't making.
Reminds me of the movie Antoine Fisher. Remember that scene when the little boy had the whole scene, he was getting molested, abused in different ways.
Had to eat the girl.
And getting tied to the pole, getting beat. So
nigga.
Yeah. I knew which nigga I was. Well, I know it's gonna be a good day. But again, I got to go back to that age-old question with all the abuse going on. Where was the father? I got to keep asking that. I hate to keep harping on it.
Well, I do know now, you know, the father did get arrested after Taisha was arrested, but it was on unrelated charges.
Okay.
So, you know, he's pretty much indisposable at this time to where, you know, he can't do anything to help the situation.
And now but it makes me want to ask, what type of household was this?
Yeah, now I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, I know that there were other kids in the household, which it doesn't mention if any abuse was going on to them. It just strictly mentions Jamaria.
Now, here's something else, then, if that's the case. Comedian 96, you wanted to know where was the father. So we was able to, from the story, we're able to determine if there was stepmom and biological dad.
Right.
Where's the biological mom?
That's a good question.
Oh, that is a good question.
That's a good question. And then hearing, you know, that the biological father had gotten arrested, you know,
right.
He obviously was, you know, doing something he had no business doing in them streets probably, which is why, you know, Tashelle, you know, had access to do the things that she's doing. She's currently in jail without bond, which is a good thing. And she'll be pending arraignment later this month. You know, in closing, man, I just think that, you know, we definitely need to communicate and talk to our kids. But as Freddie G mentioned earlier, how we can instill fear in our kids to where they're I guess, scared to say something when it's the right thing to do. We need to definitely figure out how to communicate better along with our kids. But I'm not saying that their discipline shouldn't be given, you know, but it should be a proper form of discipline that's not being abusive to the child. You know, we need to pay attention to what's being said, listen, and because I know I had a bad problem of listening to my kid. Well, there's a difference between listening and hearing, and I think I was hearing but not listening to my kids as a father. So, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I would definitely take heed to what's being said to me and pay a lot more attention than what I did do, and just try to, protect as parents should the best that I could without causing harm. Appreciate y'all joining us, man. Come back next week. Peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Sky Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Sky Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Sky faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.
coexisted, but to know the real, you just